Manchester United traveled to Denmark to face Copenhagen for a return fixture last night. This match was a last ditch attempt to stay in the race in our group and qualify to the round of 16. The match got off to a good start, but the first half controversial decision turned the ties and has left all United supporters at odds ends. I am D with my co host, Don Benito, and this is the Glory Red podcast. Let's get into this match review of Copenhagen versus Manchester United. Yo, what's good, my guy?
What's good, Boss D? Oh.
Yeah, yeah, man. It was such an exhilarating match last night. Man, 7 goal thriller.
Relax.
Unbelievable.
And I never thought that it never occurred to me that that was what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, nah, I did not see all those goals coming. No ways. I would be lying. Because
Yeah.
I think I predicted a 2-1 in this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see it go beyond what it did.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. But let's get straight into it, man. As we always start off with starting lineup. What are your thoughts when you saw that starting lineup, my guy? And
You
how
know what?
different was it to your predicted starting 11?
Well, it was very different in terms of a couple of players that were added. I think um, I had put Varane in my starting lineup and he didn't start. Yeah, he did come on, but he didn't start. I had put Amrabat in my starting lineup, but he didn't start. And I had also put Pelestri, and he didn't even play. And obviously, we're gonna talk more about that. But yeah, I was quite close. I had Scott McTominay, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, Onana, Maguire, uh, Bruno Hoyland, and Garnacho. Those are the guys that I actually got spot on in my starting lineup.
Yeah.
But again, you look at the starting lineup, and the first thing when you look at it, when it smacks you in your face, it's like the first thing that came into my head was, where is Varane? Where is Varane? Why isn't Varane starting? There is a huge question mark on that thing, and I think we're going to dissect it even more because even when he came on as a substitute, I sensed a little bit of attitude, man. I don't know. Like, I love Varane, but I saw an expression, like the body language. When I saw Onana hugging him, why was like I had so many questions, so many questions. Then I asked
Yeah.
myself, okay, he's gonna go with Evans and Maguire. I mean, they've been doing all right, and we don't agree, and we always feel like once we get beaten, that is when the mistake is going to be exposed. So for example, like last season, we used to be like, oh, during the Ole times, you pick a team and we'll be like, we get that you're picking this team and we understand why, because you've kind of forced it on us, but it is not the right team. And then you kind of like win or scrape through games until you meet a team that actually exposes that team. And I feel like we are sort of we've been riding on the same thing, on the same wave, in terms of when you look at that starting lineup, it literally it was the team that started against Fulham minus Marcus Rashford. He was the only one that wasn't in that squad that won during the weekend. So then you look, okay, fine. Maybe the gaffer wanted to go with the same winning team. You wanted to build on that momentum. Then you'll be like, okay, he did it. He tried to build up on it, but we got beaten. And then it's like, okay, did we get beaten because the team isn't right? Was it the starting lineup? A lot of us, I mean, before the game, we were worried about the starting lineup. We were like, why? What's this? Why isn't Amrabat starting? Now I am really worried. Like, just coming into a lot of these things, because a lot of players that I thought were like unmissable, undroppable, like players that you just have to have in the starting lineup. And now there's sort of question marks around them. That has left me a little bit worried. But what about you, Pastor D? Like when you saw that starting lineup, what was the first thing that hit you?
Yeah, man. The one thing I can say I'm sort of proud of was getting the Rashford Garnacho thing right. You know,
Man.
I had a feeling he was gonna start both of them at the same time. Because Garnacho actually played very well during that
Mhm.
Fulham game, and Anthony has just not been up to scratch. So if any player that was going to be dropped was definitely going to be Anthony. I just didn't see any way Ten Hag was going to start Anthony and drop Garnacho for this game. I was just like yourself and a lot of Manchester United supporters, had questions about, okay, why isn't Varane starting? Why isn't Amrabat starting? Because obviously we heard some rumors during the week about a fallout with Varane and the manager, and it's like, okay, what's going on over here? Is this another Jaden Sancho situation? And as you can see, um, we all saw when he walked onto the pitch how his demeanor was. Like he never had a really good attitude towards the situation. And Andrew Nana had to like sort of bring him in, and I don't know what words he gave him, but I'm pretty sure it was more on the lines of, look, I know you got your beef with the manager, but right now you need to do your job. So I need your head in the game. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure the conversation went something like that. But it does start to raise more questions about what what exactly is going on in that dressing room, and these are the type of situations and stories we do not need out there, right?
Mm.
Because obviously this thing first started with Cristiano Ronaldo publicly coming out and saying, you know the manager this, the manager that, and then after he left, it was now Jaden Sancho, and everybody jumped on Jaden Sancho's neck and said, grow up, bada, 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 this and this and this. Now, the same attitude is coming from another professional player who has got years of experience, and we expect him to handle the situation better. And he's more or less going about it the same way. You understand?
Mm.
Now it starts to
Mm.
raise bigger questions, where we start asking ourselves, what exactly is going on in the dressing room? You know, and we do not need that type of drama, because if it's literally going to be the same, more or less the same situation with Jaden Sancho, where the player feels like he's not starting, or some other player is starting ahead of him and he deserves a chance to start, then it just opens up you know, a whole can of worms that we just do not need at the moment right now. So looking at that starting 11, I was okay with it. I wasn't thrilled with it. I think as the game progressed and subs were being made, some of the players that we expect to start who didn't start, I guess we got to see reasons to why they never started, because when Amrabat came in, he wasn't looking sharp, you
Uh,
know. He actually hasn't been looking sharp since he picked up the injury. When he
yeah,
first came on and started playing in that left back position, then he was moved to the midfield. He was all right. And then he picked up the injury, and then ever since he got back, it's like his form just dramatically dropped.
mm.
It's almost like he's unnoticeable in that pitch, you know? And I really don't know what it is, but yeah, man, that starting 11 for me, um, I didn't know what to expect. Let me just say, let me just put it like that. I thought it was okay, and I was just crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. So yeah,
I
that's
feel
what I
you.
got to say about the starting 11. But yeah,
Mm.
man. But now that that's out of the way, let's jump into the first half, because that's where a lot of the drama went down.
Hey.
We started off very comfortably. When we scored that first goal, I was like, okay, okay, at least we're taking the lead. You know,
No, even apart from that, D, we were playing good football.
Yeah, we're playing good football. The
Yeah,
passing was mint. You know what I mean? We just everything just made sense. Everything was gelling together. Everyone was playing as one. I don't know what it was, and it's so frustrating because Manchester United does this to you, fam. One week they'll play like absolute pop, like they don't know the game, and
yeah,
then you get games like yesterday, where like the first opening minutes are like, but why haven't you guys been doing this all along?
exactly. Where have
Eric
you
Ten
been?
Hag, where have you been? Like, Eric Ten Hag literally mentioned it in the press conference after the match. And he's like, I think he said the first 7 or 10 minutes, I can't remember. He's like, this has been the best football we've played since the beginning of the season. The first 10 minutes is the best football we've played since the beginning of the season, fam. And that says a lot. That really says a lot, fam.
It
But yeah,
does.
man,
It does.
everything was just gelling together. Even the first goal, how it came about. One Bisaka, man, with that chance, like Ish, man, he just slipped the ball in. Scott McTominay where he needed to be. Scott McTominay drives that ball into the box, and then Erling Haaland to finish. Bam! Like that play was so
Was the best
mint.
open goal we've scored in a while.
Best open goal scored in a while. Period. Period. You know, it just man, you couldn't even say this was individual brilliance. This was a
Nah,
teamwork goal.
yeah.
This is the type of goals that we've been talking about that United are lacking. You know, we never get those type of goal scoring opportunities or create those type of goal scoring opportunities because you would have a player like, for example, if Wan-Bissaka made that pass to Anthony, if Anthony was in Scott McTominay's position,
He
Anthony was
was
not
going.
gonna drive it in with his left or with his right.
No,
He was gonna
no.
cut
He was
in.
going to cut it.
He was
Yeah.
gonna cut it. And because you're so close to the goalpost, the first thing he was gonna think of was shoot, not
Yeah.
find the striker. You
Yeah.
understand? Now you
Yeah.
get players like Scott McTominay who understand service. You need to give your forward player service. You check. And
That's
then
the
look
only way he
what that
scored.
results in.
Mm.
Exactly. You know, second goal, of course, we get a little bit fortunate because Garnacho went for goal. Good attempt
No,
either way.
our striker was motoring, boy.
Yeah, yeah, he goes for goal. Unfortunately, it got blocked by the keeper, but Hoyland was in the position to like slip it away. Boom,
Yes.
boom. You check.
Man, I missed. I missed. I'm telling you, those goals yesterday made me happy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I was watching, I wasn't getting carried away because I kept thinking to myself,
true.
this same United team that's doing all these wonders, they can literally
Yep,
flop. Like they can
exactly.
literally lose this game. Not well,
Hmm.
not lose, but then they can concede immediately.
Exactly. Yeah, you
There's
just
just
don't know
that
what can
thing.
happen next.
Hey, but in my heart, I was like, damn, boys,
Yeah,
this is what I am talking about.
yeah,
Like seeing Rasmus get at the end of that goal because it was Perry, because he was chasing,
yeah,
following up. Yes, bro. Anyway,
man.
carry on, carry on. Yeah.
And then yeah, 42nd minute. We are under pressure, you know. And how did that situation even start? I'm trying to remember how that situation. But anyway, we're fumbling with the ball in the box. Rashford's back doing his defensive duties. He tries to step in to shield the
Let's
ball.
shoot the ball. Yeah.
He tries to shield the ball, and in the event of doing that, he accidentally steps on the player's ankle.
Mm.
And yeah, in slow motion, obviously, it looks really bad, but that action that happened didn't take that long. It was just like done. Like probably happened over like a second. In slow motion, it's like 3, 4, 5 seconds. It seems worse than it actually was. Now, I would agree that yes, even though it was a mistake,
It is
um,
dangerous.
it is dangerous, right? And I think this is why I suggested that we need to go through this rule book.
Oh,
It's
boy.
almost like because
I'm telling you, I
I
had an
don't want to
idea.
be biased.
I had an idea why you brought that up because I
Yeah,
was asking myself the same questions yesterday.
you check
There
what I'm
was
saying.
so many dubious calls that
Yeah,
I was like, but you know what? Let's just keep quiet because I
dude.
don't know the
I
facts.
also
I
don't
don't
know.
know, so
Yeah,
I can't
like
say
they,
anything
there
that. Yeah.
has to be a reason why that's justified. For
Mm,
example, the hits your hand in the ball. Sorry, the ball hits your hand in the box. It's a straight penalty. You understand what I mean? That's what we have been told. That's what
mm,
has been put out there in the media. That the new rule. This happened like what, a season or two ago. Like as long as that ball hits your hand in the box, it's an infringement. It's a
yeah.
penalty whether you meant it or not. That's just the way it is. The problem is that rule hasn't been consistent, right? So we just need to double check and see if that's facts. Like they don't care what happens as long as it touches your hand. So I'm assuming with the Rashford thing was, even though it was a mistake, it was a dangerous situation. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Could have broken the player's ankle, could have injured him, could have ended his
But
career.
here's the thing, G.
Yeah,
Can I just add something in there? It's funny you say that because the way I saw Rashford's red card, they always use this word intent, like an intent,
yeah,
like this player is intending to harm or
yes,
reckless or out of control. They
mm,
use certain words when they're talking about these things. And
yeah,
one thing that I've noticed is that, like, sometimes they can give you the red on the, like, how clumsy your
yeah,
tackle is.
yeah,
Like, it could be an honest mistake, but because it's clumsy, you get it. Like, dude, you're a
yes,
professional. You need
yeah,
to be on point. And then there are those ones that is like you get the ball and then you get the man. Those
yeah,
ones, it's like it's reckless and dangerous because you're just throwing your foot there. Now
yeah,
you look at Rashford's situation, it's like I mean, he didn't. He just kind of like placed it. And
yeah,
what they were saying, I don't know what terminologies they used, but they were they were struggling to find like that reckless. You see, like Odogi,
yeah, yeah,
during Chelsea when he went tackling with his legs. That
yeah,
one normally they will give it to you. They'll be like, "This is
yeah,
reckless.
yes,
You,
yes,
you had the intent."
high
But
boots,
Rashford is
etc.
really, yes, Rashford
Yeah,
here, he's just shielding.
yes,
Is
he's
this
stepping into
reckless?
shield.
Is
Mm,
A, is he trying to be malicious? Is there an ill will intent behind his tackle? You see, these are the things that they always try to determine before they actually give this thing. And what was surprising was the fact that they just looked at Rashford's situation, because for me, that was not a red card. I refuse. That was not a red card. And I know that sounds like I'm being biased, but then when you look at how these guys have ways of deliberating decisions, they're like, nah, because no, one commentator was like, but Rashford is not looking to hurt this guy. He is literally shielding the ball.
yeah,
Like, if there was any will intent, you don't see Rashford trying to trying to stamp on him. Nah, it's just one of those normal things. Stamps on the guy, and then but then they're still
yeah,
giving the red. Like, I disagreed with it. And then here's another
yeah,
funny thing. I don't know if you noticed this, but Rasmus got hit in the face during the game. I don't know if you saw it. He did. And it was outside, it was almost something similar to this thing. Now, head injuries, these ankles, they always talk about, hey, head injuries, this. We always protect players with head injuries. This
mm,
guy was smacked in the face. The guy who smacked him never even got a yellow.
yeah.
How are we going to how anyway, sorry. I'm just fucking but how did you see all this
Yeah,
play
man.
out?
I think you know what? It's frustrating, but because it's been happening so often, especially in the Premier League, I want to say I've become immune to it. But it's
Yes.
almost like you expect it. You know, the commentator even mentioned that nowadays when you see the ref go to the screen, you know the decision is going to go. So if he's going to check for a penalty, then it's going to be given. If he's going to check if the goal is offside, it most likely is offside. If he's going to check if it's just a red card call, it's probably going to be a red card. So I don't think we have seen a situation this season where ref has gone to the VAR machine and has what you call this a different opinion to what is being called by the officials in the VAR situation, you know. So this VAR thing, it's crazy. I mean, look how long it took them to get to that decision of giving Rashford that red card. It literally slowed and delayed the game, and you know what I mean. There was even
Let
a
it
point
go.
where they delayed so much that they even had to get the balls on the pitch just to keep the players warm. You know, they're
Yes.
literally doing drills on the pitch because these guys couldn't decide. And these are the things that was spoke about before they implemented VAR, about VAR slowing the game down too much because you sort of lose that momentum. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're 2 goals up, everything is just moving and now it comes to a standstill, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it sort of gives like the opponents an unfair advantage because now they can huddle up. The coach can come and give them more advice, say do this, do that, and blah, blah. You check what I'm saying. So it opens up a lot of room for disruption in the game, which we don't want. So these decisions, they need to be more decisive, more quicker. You know, this thing of watching the replays in slow motion, it doesn't help because it just makes
Doesn't
it look
help.
worse than it is. They
Mm.
should just go see the thing in real time so they have a real understanding of what exactly happened. Because if you're gonna slow it down, of course it's going to look intentional. You understand? But play it in real time and see how the action happened. Because now you're playing it in slow motion, and that whole action, like I said, it took a second, but in slow motion, it's like 5 seconds. Now it looks
Bro,
deliberate. So
bro.
that was just absolute ridiculous.
And it looks worse every time it is
Yeah,
slowed down. Like every angle, like the
yeah,
slower you show it, the worse it becomes. Honestly, the red card decision really, like, I know people refuse to say to acknowledge this, but the red card decision really changed everything. It changed the way we were set up, the way we were now thinking. Um, and then when those two quick fire goals went in, it was just a matter of, like, for me, it was like, please don't concede more, because that was my worry. I was like, yeah, like, do whatever it is that you can to just not concede more. Like, even if it means that you guys don't even attempt to try and score, because I kept having this thought. Like, I started thinking about the Tottenham game against Chelsea. I was like, do not try and be funny. Do not try and pull an Ange Postecoglou here, take these guys all the way to the halfway line, get smashed. Nah, don't do that. And yeah, we man, so this game, honestly, it hurt me and disappointed me in the sense that, bro, we don't have a lot of fighters in our team, bro. Maybe, maybe maybe we are missing some of those key players that bring that sort of energy, that hunger, that fight, that easily rubs off on other players. But my guy, we have seen other teams this season, even before. You go down a man and they try to organize themselves. In fact, they become even more difficult to score against. You know what I mean? They become a problem. It's like, how are these 10 men guys? They're just a few games where, yeah, a 10-man team gets smashed by a really good team. And then the 10-man team, they'll be like, nah, it's cool. We lost, but with 10 men, we were able to put up a fight. We've had that. Why is it that United, we are not able to, like, withstand that? I was watching that game and thinking about the Liverpool game when they were down, like, beginning of the season, and they just put their shit together. Like, they packed the bus. They're like, nah, let's do this. Now, I know by saying that that might feel sound like I'm questioning the manager. I don't know if the manager wanted these guys to park the bus, but man, you were like, just coming into this question, you were like the third goal, like the goal that came after. It came from the left. It was like Dalot wasn't. I'm sorry. I don't want to signal out Dalot, but even Wan-Bissaka also has this problem. The only difference is Wan-Bissaka, yesterday's game, managed to cover his posts. But our fullbacks, they have a problem with defending. Both of them, like, they have this weird thing. It's just unfortunate that yesterday Wan-Bissaka managed to get his shit on pat, and Dalot didn't, because that third goal came from Dalot sleeping. Like, Dalot didn't pay attention. He didn't look behind, and bang, they scored. Now, you're not gonna go and sit here and start blaming only Dalot. Nah, like, everybody's to blame because it went into this. So this is where I come in and say, like, that that togetherness, that fight, like those players that can take games by the balls, and drive. Copenhagen was seen as a mountain to climb. But then, in within minutes, we were silencing that stadium. A lot of people went to that stadium and they struggled. Like, we were about to be the different team that just goes and say, listen, we are united. We go wherever we want to go and just, nail people. But we went there and absolutely just fell apart. Now, apart from falling apart, there were so many good things. We played very good football. Like towards the end of the game, we were now playing shit. We had reverted back to default settings. We were now just, but then beginning of the game, right up until I guess the red card, man, there was an element of like I kept sitting and thinking, you see, I hope, like I kept saying, like these are the things I'm going to bring into the show. Like, you see the improvement, the ball possession. I was gonna be talking about this thing, and then even we talked before in the previous episode where we're like, if they can just get the basics, control the ball, pass, keep the ball, and they were doing all those things. It was just happy days. It was just happy days until so. Like, are we the kind of team that when the odds are stacked against us, like, do we choose our moments? Because 1 minute we can go and win a last minute game, 90 something minutes. Then it's like, oh, we have the hunger, we have the fight, we have this. We go down 10 men, we are 2-0 up. You want to keep on scoring? Really? Okay, fine. You can attempt, but then you have to make sure that at the back everything's cool. So man, I had so many mixed emotions about that game, like mixed feelings. I was disappointed in the fight from the players. I really wish they could have done more. Um, like even Onana, like there was one goal that went in. I think it was the second one or their first goal. No, the one where it was on the was it the third? The one Elianusi fumbled. Which goal was that? He didn't connect it properly. Elianusi, is it Elianusi? Um, if it's not Elianusi, it's that guy who was busy shooting a lot from them. He was even some. I forgot his name. Some short. They're all short in that. Bro, I looked at that goal and so yeah, man, like that goal that Elianusi scored and it was just a low hit. Man, that thing annoyed me because I kept missing David De Gea. I'm like, David De Gea would have stopped that. Like, Onana, why? And yeah, I honestly thought we conceded cheap goals, really, compared to the goals that we scored that I felt like were very hard earned. Those guys, we really
Yeah,
let them slide. Like, we really did. Like, no offense to
yeah,
them, we're playing at their home, they had their crowd, they had everything going for them.
yeah,
But I felt like we gave them that win. We literally gave it to them. Like, yeah, no, you guys take it. Take this win. We don't really
yeah,
need this win right now. So
yeah,
man. Oh
yeah.
man, it was so frustrating.
Yeah, man. I share the same sentiments, you know. As much as we want to blame poor refereeing decisions and stuff like that, yes, it does play a part in the match, but I also feel like United just let themselves down. The manager as well should have made an early substitute for Sofian Amrabat and Christian Eriksen. As soon as we went a man down, he should have switched to a defensive
Thank you.
formation, to a defensive strategy. Yeah, you should have just contained it. We were good with 2 goals up. You understand? They needed to now think past, more strategic. This is the Champions League. Things like this happen. This is not domestic league. Like, everyone is fighting for that, coveted trophy, and people will do anything. People go the extra mile just to make sure that they need to do what they need to do in the European Championship. So yeah, man, this one I'm gonna put part of the blame on the officials, but I'm gonna put the majority of the blame on Manchester United themselves. We were 2 goals up. There was no excuse for us to lose this game. We should have parked. We should have hit them on the break. We have the pace to do that. And in all fairness, Rashford didn't even have the best of games. You know, he was relatively quiet. I don't remember anything Rashford did until he got the red card. To be honest, maybe you do. I don't remember any significant play that he made, any nice through pass,
Just one
goal,
cross,
attempt at goal,
one
nothing.
cross.
You know, I don't even remember it. So not to stunt on Rashford or anything, but yeah, man, I want to say we'll miss him, but
We won't. No, when
we
I saw
won't.
that,
And this not to sound
yeah.
mean, and this not to sound mean, but man, it's almost like the team has been sort of better off without him,
Can I
you know.
ask you something, King?
And it's a shame that,
In the group, you
huh?
said
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
justice is served. What did you mean by that?
Yes, I meant it by the penalty, not the
Oh,
Rashford
okay. Because in my head,
situation.
like
Yes,
I was agreeing with you because I was like, you know what? We've been
yeah,
fighting with this whole Rashford debacle, like this whole Rashford thing.
yeah,
You know, it's good. Not that it's good that the players out was being given a red card. No, we don't wish
yes,
these kind of
yes,
things.
yes, yes,
But then just to
exactly.
put an end to some sort of fighting that is going on between the fan base, I feel like Rashford needs to be
Yeah,
excluded. You know, like this red card was
yeah,
necessary. Sit your ass down. Watch
yeah,
from the sidelines. Get your
yeah,
shit together. You know, when we get knocked out of this Champions League, know that you had a role to
yeah,
you played a role in that. You didn't score. Got a red card.
yeah,
Got smashed.
yeah,
That was you. You know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get you. I get you. But yeah, man, it was a shame. But like I said, not to sound mean, I think we'll be okay. I'm just happy that this is the last game, and then we're gonna go on international break because I don't even know what's gonna be played during this international break. But I do hope that a lot of the players are gonna remain behind, you know, to get the form back. The players which have got niggle injuries and have got illnesses and stuff like that. I'm really hoping for a revitalized team after the international break. Like you said, there's a lot of positives to get out of this game, and I just hope that we can work on those positives during this international break and then come at the other end stronger because after the international break, they're going to be difficult fixtures. This Luton match is probably going to be our easiest fixture
Uh-uh.
up
Uh-uh.
until,
Uh-uh.
yeah.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
on
I
paper,
know.
on
I
paper,
okay.
on paper, on paper, this should be one of the easiest fixtures. The same thing with
Yeah.
Sheffield United. On paper, it was supposed to be a breeze, you know. So this Luton side as well, on paper, we should comfortably go there and get the
Bro.
job done.
No, they're coming to us, right?
But
Are they
this
not
is
coming to us?
United, huh? Um, Luton, yeah, they're coming to
Yeah.
us. Yeah, it's a whole match.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that
So
I take comfort in, that they were playing at home. That field is fucked up. I don't know what it is. Every time I watch a game there, it's just weird. Like weird vibe. Mm.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you. All right. So before we close this episode off, last thing I want to talk about. Obviously we lost yesterday. We're now dead last in the group, if I'm not
Mm.
mistaken. We technically were not
Oh,
yet
yes,
out. You know what I mean?
but we're
Technically,
out.
we still stand a chance. But that's what I wanted to ask from you. What do you think?
Unless this,
Remember, we had our recap
yeah,
episode, and we're like, "Where will we be?" So I think this ties in
like
perfectly. Like, do you see us going through or not?
unless we go into Super Saiyan Gogeta, mixed with I don't like we just go berserk and hammer Galatasaray and Bayern Munich. The only way we qualify through this gate, this group, is if we beat Galatasaray and Bayern Munich.
Yeah, yeah,
That is it. Like we have
it's
to win those
madness.
two games. So
Yeah,
if we can't, and do you
yeah,
see us? And those are the Galatasaray game is away, Bayern is home. Bayern,
yeah,
we are hoping that at least by the time we play them, we would have at least some of our key players back, and maybe we would have had some sort of
yeah,
momentum around us. So that game we can leave it on the shelf. But Galatasaray, we need to
yeah,
smash them. And when I say smash them, it
yeah,
can't
yeah,
be like yesterday. It can't be 4-3,
yeah,
2-3, 5-4. These close games with one goal difference. Now it has to be a little bit of a margin because now our our group also the goal difference will be a huge factor. It will play a huge role.
yeah,
So yeah, but
yeah, man. It's mental. You know what's also crazy? This is the first game Copenhagen have won, and up until they were sitting dead last in the group, and now they're second. Now they're second. That is so
Bro.
unreal. It's unreal. Bayern did us a favor because at least now we are same goal difference with Galatasaray. But anyway, I don't like being in a situation where we are relying on other
Do
teams
the job for,
for us
yeah,
to
me
go
too.
through. You
Yeah,
understand what I mean? And that's why I'm counting ourselves out of the
yeah.
Champions League because man, anything can
And
happen. Copenhagen can go and beat Bayern and then it's done for us. There's no way back.
D,
You check.
correct
So
me. Like,
yeah.
if we are last, do we play a playoff to get into Europa, or is it third that goes to Europa?
I think it's third that goes to
And
Europa.
then depending on your points, last can get into a playoff, right?
Yes, 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 yes. Honestly, like I mentioned to you in the recap episode, I would just prefer we're just out of everything
Yeah,
completely.
yeah.
You know, I'd rather finish dead last and not even qualify for Europa. That's the way I would just prefer it happens.
Because it will give us more time
Cause
to
yeah, man,
focus on the Prem and potentially the FA
yeah,
Cup, because those will be only two competitions
exactly,
we're in.
fam. I mean, the only team that was supposed to give us a problem was Bayern, and we couldn't even, you know what I mean, hold our own against Copenhagen and Galatasaray. When you look at the other teams that we're gonna be facing, they're gonna be way more difficult. There's no way we're gonna be able to exchange blows. It's going to be a
D.
demolition. Thank you once again for listening to this episode of the Glory Reds podcast. Don't forget you can catch us on all your favorite streaming podcasting platforms or Glory Reds FC. And yeah, we'll catch y'all guys in the next episode and be out. Peace.
Peace.